We just watched the Unholy Trinity. Should you? Stay tuned for the verdict. I'm Ryan Jacob.
I'm Brandon Kelly.
And we are at the cinema. You about to get a straight out the theater, fresh off the dome, regular dude review. Zero spoilers, zero in.
And just who might this be?
My pa.
Pierce Brosnan, Samuel L. Jackson in a Western? I'm sold.
Wow, yeah, what a fun take on a story of betrayal and revenge.
I don't know, you feel the betrayal. You feel the drama that's going on, and they're like there. It wasn't the fastest ride the whole time, but I was there, I was with it.
Yeah, no, it was a fun ride. I think it's a fresh take on a classic style movie.
A Western with some top-notch actors, like, how wrong can you go? Why aren't more people talking about this movie? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, the acting was phenomenal.
I'm gonna have to give this movie a medium. It was really great. Great actors, but it could have been up a notch or two,
Yeah, a little predictable,
Yeah.
definitely.
You
But overall, I'd say I give it a medium popcorn with some extra butter. I would say it's a little bit closer to a large. I'm a little bit closer to a large than you are on it.
Yeah? No, I really liked it. Yeah. I want some butter and a Coke with it. But it was a great movie. I maybe thought, I don't know, man. I don't know if I thought it was going to be more good. But right now I'm sitting at a medium. Tomorrow might be a large.
Yeah, I just think the performances is what made it.
Not every man who's known is loved.
Now we're going to dive into the shallow waters of vagueness. We're going to break down the story, performance, theatrics with zero spoilers, zero wins. What's this movie about, Brandon?
All right, gather round now. I'm going to tell you the story about how buried secrets of an 1870s Montana town sparks violence when a young man returns to reclaim his legacy and is caught between a sheriff trying to maintain order and a mysterious stranger hell-bent on destroying it all.
Woo-ee, buddy. Sounds like a hell of a story.
It's a good, fast-paced one. I liked it. Picks up pretty quickly and never stops.
Yeah, I thought it might have drug a little bit, but, you just got to give the moments. The movie had to breathe, so I need to give it that.
Absolutely.
It sprinkled the action throughout the movie, and, the shootouts were great. You agree about?
Yeah, definitely kept me in it the whole time. I was never, strayed away from the screen. It was some good visuals and stuff in the shootouts.
I didn't really feel any plot holes in this movie.
No, I didn't think there was any plot holes. Everything seemed to add up pretty well.
Nice, logical movie, I think.
Definitely. They did a good job there.
It's an interesting story about family values, clearing your father's name, clearing your family's name, betrayal, learning who to trust and not to trust, and watching your bike. There was the dialogue was great, no cheesy dialogue. Yeah. Although I don't know enough about, this was more immigrant times. They probably had the accents of the countries they came from. So I'm sitting here wondering, are these Irishmen or what?
Yeah,
but
I felt like they really, kind of talked like they would have back then and stuff. They did do a good job of that.
Me and him stole enough gold, paved the streets of heaven.
So the performances for Unholy Trinity was amazing. Pierce Brosnan and Samuel L. Jackson, that's all you really got to say, right?
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan really stood out to me. I really thought he embodied that role of the sheriff. It was awesome.
I thought Samuel L. Jackson stood out. Dude was a psycho, crazy, down to do whatever to get what he fought for and what was his, at least in his mind.
Yeah, that's a good take. Right on. I agree with that too.
The dynamics between the two characters were great. I loved the dynamic between the sheriff and the boy.
Yes.
Really great. And then when Samuel L. Jackson's character came in and out of the scene, and the way he interacted with everybody and just pulled the strings that made the events of the whole movie happen.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah, I want to second that, though. I really liked the dynamic between Pierce Bronson and Henry. I really think that it was like a father-son type bond.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, he could feel, and it kind of, it sort of symbolically was father-son, because he was in the spot that his father was in at one point in time, and so he's like, he sees what's going on because he hears little pieces of story on top of what he already knows, so he pieces together what's going on. But one thing I gotta say is they kind of make Henry a little bit dumb. He was a little bit too dumb. Like, he never done this. He don't remember that. He can't remember these people. But you don't remember nothing? None of that? Like, what was that about?
Yeah.
Was he sick as a child or what?
Right. Like, overall, I guess he didn't do too bad. But yeah, he was just like overly stupid.
Very aloof.
And just kind of silly, really.
Yeah. He's a very inexperienced person who can't remember anything either.
Yeah.
But other than that, he did great. I mean, he did do a good job of bringing that to the table, but I think they just wrote him a little bit too dumb, but he did great.
And I felt his pain and stuff with the passing of his father and all that. So.
Yeah. I just lost my father, so I had to fulfill his last wishes, so I had that connection with this movie.
In case it ain't obvious, you will find that gold.
Now we're about to break down the Theatrics of Unholy Trinity, which is going to cover everything to do with lighting and sound and all that in between, stage, all that stuff. Brandon?
I mean, overall, I thought the set design was pretty good. There were some beautiful countryside shots, and they really kind of immersed you into the 1800s feel. Like some of the settings, the bar and stuff, really felt like an old 1800s style bar.
Yeah, it reminded me of like, if you see, you can go visit an old Western town. You know, it was like, it reminded me of that, which I like seeing a Western in, good high quality film. I haven't watched a Western in a while, so I was just like, I kind of want to see this in old grainy black and white, but I really like seeing it in good up to date technology and everything.
Yeah, it was pretty
How
awesome.
was any effects and all that stuff?
Well, we always talk about blood. I thought the blood looked pretty realistic. There's not like really a whole lot of blood, but I thought it looked pretty realistic.
We're blood brothers.
And they used pretty practical effects, not really a lot of CGI. There was one scene where it was
scene?
They were like coming down the side of the hill on some horses.
That's
and
exactly.
I was like, why does that need to be CGI?
I was wondering the same thing, because I was sitting here looking. I was like, okay, it doesn't look like any of these plants are moving. They look kind of painted or brushed on, and I was like just waiting. And when the horses started galloping on it, and I was like trying to look to see if it was real.
Yeah. But then there's like other shots of the same like countryside, and they look real. I mean, there's like mountains in the background, so I can't tell for sure, but it looks pretty real.
Maybe something just happened and they wanted to make that shot look beautiful, but it took too long. The sun wasn't hitting right. I don't know.
Yeah, it just kind of threw me off for a second. I'm like, why did you need to use CGI right there in that moment?
But like the choreography from all the fight scenes were amazing. The shootouts, great.
Oh yeah, absolutely, very believable.
I don't want to be no villain.
So we're gonna wrap this one up. Let you know what this movie's like. See if you want to go see it. Does it remind you of any certain movies or vibe?
It reminds me a little bit of True Grit. If you ever seen True Grit, it's, a little bit of revenge and stuff, a little bit of betrayal in there. It's kind of the same type of stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend this movie, especially if you love westerns, especially if you love Samuel L. Jackson, especially if you love Pierce Bronson, because I'm gonna tell you what, Samuel L. Jackson killed it in this. Wow. He embodied that role. I was hoping that he was gonna I was hoping his character was going to be great, and it was.
Yes, I mean, Pierce Brosnan stood out to me, but Samuel L. Jackson's is the performance I'm really gonna remember.
He's
I mean,
diabolical.
yeah, he was an absolute madman. I mean, like you said earlier, just pulling the strings and really making you hate him.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
Pierce was a great. He was a great sheriff.
Yes.
He wasn't a bad sheriff like a lot of these movies have. You know, he actually was the good guy.
Yeah, I wasn't for sure what to think for a while, and then I could clearly distinguish, like, okay, he's the good guy, and that's the bad guy.
Man don't know what he is till his back's against the wall.
For more movie news, bonus features, and reviews, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time at the cinema.